The NHL awards races this season? They're tight. The Hart Trophy has multiple MVP level seasons. The Norris race is stacked with elite defensemen, and the Jack Adams? That might be the tightest race we've seen in years. So today, we're breaking down who actually deserves to win. In the Hart race, we had three favorites, Celebrini, McDavid, and McKinnon. But there's a fourth player that skyrocketed all the way up to take control in this race, Nikita Kucherov. The man has been on above 2 points per game pace over the last 50 games and is doing something unbelievable.
On top of that, it's not like the Tampa Bay Lightning are struggling, right? They're currently second in their division with 2 points behind the Buffalo Sabres, which they also have a game in hand. So they have a very legitimate chance of winning the division. They're not going to win they have a chance of winning the Eastern Conference as well because Carolina is at 96 points, so they're only 3 points behind there as well with the game in hand. And overall, and a lot of that is because of Kucherov, because the Lightning had a slow start to the year. Is it a coincidence that Kucherov's had a slow start himself to this standard? Not really, because at the end of the day, wherever Kucherov goes is how the Lightning are going to go. Obviously, Vasilevsky, we're not going to talk about the Vezina here, is one of the top two favorites right now for the Vezina between him and fellow countrymate Ilya Sorokin of the New York Islanders. But so obviously, some players stepped up for them defensively and all that. They're a well-coached team, probably have the best coach in hockey in John Cooper. But when you're seeing what the mind-boggling stuff that Kucherov does, because listen, we didn't even consider him a couple of weeks ago, I think, when we talked about this and just in general, on and off camera. So what this guy is doing is, yes, I think right now, by far and away, he's our number one guy. I think so are both of our number one guy now. But I do want to ask you one question before we move on to the next couple players here. Is he the most underrated superstar in the NHL? In a sense that we don't talk about him a lot compared to McDavid and McKinnon and McCarr, even Hughes the last couple of years, as well as Celebrini this year, because we always kept saying their names and we did not mention Kucherov really till now.
I don't think so, just because
maybe not under
at the end of the day, in my top five, I always have Kucherov, right? Especially when you're looking at forwards, I always
say that might be underrated because he might be top three.
Okay, yeah, but
I know.
This conversation, you still have McDavid and Draisaitl, McKinnon. It's hard to be a top three, right? At the end of the day, Kucherov was always going to be in the top five.
Underrated, okay, strong word, but in terms of talking, but if is he talked about amongst the greatest, and should be considered? I still think Ovechkin is the greatest Russian player of all time, but is it a conversation to put him top three all time? I think that's where he is at now, 100%. That's guaranteed. He has two Stanley Cups. Arguably could win a third one this year as well. And I do believe that he is he's underappreciated compared to the other guys. And I think the one thing that does suck about him is that Russia is not involved in because of all the geopolitical stuff. They're not being involved in the Olympics, not being involved in the World Cup potentially, and even the foreign nations face-off. I understand it was 4 nations, and maybe they could have extended to 6 if Russia was a factor. So we're not even seeing him at the peak international level, and we may not even see him at the peak international level overall.
When you input the value conversation in, Kucherov obviously has the team success of it. He has the points, right, and the statistical numbers, and he has a value just because he's literally 50 points ahead of the next scorer on his team. McDavid, same thing. He's going to have the value. We already know that if McDavid's not in the lineup, they're not going to have success, especially when Draisaitl is out, right? And obviously, when you look at McDavid, it kind of gets a little bit hindered just because he has that duo that's almost at his level.
This year, also a better Evan Bouchard.
Exactly, who was leading the NHL as NHL defenseman points. So, but at the end of the day, we already know that McDavid's value there. That's never ever going to be questioned. We already know that this guy statistically is always going to put up 120-point seasons because that's just who he is. So again, this is no surprise that McDavid's here. The only thing is that voter fatigue, or this is just normal for him, where you expect it.
But then also, if you're looking at the team success, Kucherov has his team at a better stage right now.
The Oilers, at the end of the day, that's not to a fault of McDavid, just because Kucherov does have better management.
Yeah, McDavid was going nuclear himself. Right?
Yeah.
I think he started off. Was it this year or last year?
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you this thing right here. Kucherov, when you look at plus minus, Kucherov's a plus 45.
Yeah.
McDavid's a plus 10. That just, in my opinion, that kind of tells you the support around him as well. And then we're going to get into the other one here, Matt and Celebrini. similar sort of similar converse. Obviously, he's like the fresh guy on the block. So the voter fatigue won't affect him here. And especially if he does drag San Jose into the playoffs, you know that
he might be my favorite to win.
It was
if
him.
San Jose gets it.
Yeah, because...
Isn't there a big point gap between the first
similar
and
sort of point gap that Kucherov has in Tampa, where his next teammate is like 50 points behind him. Macklin Celebrini is kind of similar in that gap as well. So it's clear that if Celebrini isn't on the ice or isn't playing, that like the San Jose Sharks are not going to win that game.
Yeah,
that's how impactful he's been.
For Celebrini and Smith, it's 96-47 is the gap.
So 50 again, basically.
Yeah. So and Macklin Celebrini, one thing I do want to say before we bring up the last guy here is, yeah, I don't think San Jose is gonna get in now. Like ever since we made that video, he did kind of struggled even more. So I don't know if you've changed.
I put a curse on him.
Yeah, you may have changed your mind now. I don't know, but if they do get in, I think I do have to jump him because I think he has been more valuable to his team compared to Kucherov has. And Kucherov has been a valuable player, no doubt. That's not the point of this conversation, but I'm just saying to his team. The team that was worse defensively because they still need to figure out their defensive side. They're a young team and he's able to get them in. That's the crazy thing from there. Last main guy, it was the guy who was the favorite so far in terms of betting odds. He has now jumped to moved to second. Is Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan MacKinnon, once again, still playing like Nathan MacKinnon, right? Still playing crazy. He's I think first in goals.
He's first in goals.
And he's still top
in the top 3 in points.
Top 3 in points. Again, his case gets hurt a little bit because you have a Norris candidate in Cale Makar. You also have a guy like Marty Necas stepping up as well and has a really good head coach and all that. Like similar, it's very similar to Kucherov minus the Makar aspect of it, really, for the most part, right? Elite head coach, still good staff around him. That's the thing that hurts McKinnon and Makar, especially for their heart cases for the most part. But at the end of the day, like what McKinnon was doing, especially at the start of the year, they had 4 regulation losses by January, whatever it was. So like this recent stretch was their cold stretch around the Olympic break, post and slightly pre-Olympic break as well. It's not like at the end of the day, like if I have my ranking on the top of my head, it is Kucherov, it is McKinnon, and then it probably will be McDavid. Obviously, Macklin jumps to number 1 as soon as if they were to clinch for a playoff spot. A guy like Zach Werenski, look at what level he's second in defensive scoring after Evan Bouchard. Obviously I think he is the team lead for the most part. They're sitting I think second in the division right now. Yeah, second in the division right now as well. How much do you look at him? And I'm gonna throw another defenseman in, Rasmus Dahlin. In consideration, because the rest of the names they're not gonna get. Like I don't know why Shesterkin's even on this.
Look, this is where NHL kind of gets into the NFL MVP top vibes, where like you're not gonna see defensemen win, right? Goaltending, it happens here and there, right? Like Connor Hellebuyck
won it last year.
Exactly. Carey Price has done it, but it's genuinely obviously gonna go to a forward. And it's not like necessarily like it's a center or winger, that doesn't matter, but a forward in general. It's not as bad as the NFL, but I think that people just look at it like for defensemen, it's kind of like the threshold is you got to get 100 points if you want to have a good conversation to
win the playoffs.
And team make the playoffs. So yes, obviously it's in consideration. What he's doing is incredible. And it's also a good thing that they have their own award as well with the Norris. Yeah. But like I'm going to give him the props, but I just don't see it happen.
But we're talking defensemen. Let's move on to the Norris. This one is not going to be as big of a conversation because we feel like we talked about him a lot in the MVP conversation. There's a reason why he's there. Zach Werenski is my favorite. I'm looking at what Mike Bartner did. You guys could check him out on Instagram. He did a YouTube video as well where he had put his made a formula to see like how each thing goes, and like his actual top 3 for his predictions are Zach Werenski, Evan Bouchard, Miro Heiskanen. Enters the top 3 there. Mo Seider, Cale Makar to round up the top 5. The betting pages right now have Zach Werenski as the favorite, Cale Makar second, Bouchard third, Quinn Hughes fourth, Lane Hudson fifth. And again, Lane Hudson is in his top 10 as well. Like he's 6th overall here. There's a lot of consideration here as well, but I feel like this one is more clear favorite for me, Zach Werenski, than it is for the Hart, or even when we talk about the coach of the year next.
Yes, because I guess that this is where he has an advantage, especially this year. When Hughes won his Norris, it's basically Hughes dragging the Canucks. This year, Hughes has the Wild. And
well, that was a good Canucks year, to be fair, but yeah,
Hughes, but
big factor was Hughes. Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it was Quinn Hughes' team.
Yeah.
Right. Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon, and then
Bouchard, McDavid, and
Draisaitl, right? Werenski is the guy. So that's what helps here, and that's what in my opinion, hinders like other guys like McCarr and now Hughes and Bouchard, especially Bouchard, just because
For this year specifically as well.
So like because obviously like we already know the guys are going to be in the conversation. Even like Heiskanen, he's always going to be in the conversation as well. So like he definitely deserves to be in the.
This is where like we say their defensemen have their
Yeah.
own award, but sometimes a defensive defenseman doesn't get their own award.
Yes,
as
so
well.
like that's where when you look at it, like Bouchard defensively hasn't been as terrible
This year, yeah.
compared to years past. Especially he has to make those like
I mean, there's moments.
as many like he has those moments where he had to make so like terrible mistakes. But this year, what he has done has absolutely been incredible, and the reason why he was probably a miss for Team Canada in the Olympics. But at the same time, the impact Werenski makes for the Columbus Blue Jackets is not like this is the first year that he's done it. It's like
He was in consideration last year if they
he was
made it.
like in like last few years as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like necessarily anything has changed. It may be just his time. If you think about it,
This year, yeah.
like a little bit lucky because obviously Hughes at the beginning with the Canucks wasn't great, and then jumps to the Wild. Obviously his production go up. McCarr is still doing McCarr things. Bouchard is doing Bouchard things, just a little bit more of at an elevated level than he used to does. And then Werenski's still doing Werenski things.
Yeah.
It just feels like right now's time is Zach Werenski's.
Yeah. So
Right?
then,
And I still feel like there will be a day where it's gonna be Rasmus Dahlin's time, Miri Heiskanen's
Lane
time,
Hudson.
Lane Hudson, and who's the last one? Mo Sider,
Yeah.
who's also been pretty
yeah,
solid.
Mo Siders drops a little bit because of the struggles of Detroit probably missing the playoffs as well. But yeah, the one name I do want to throw out there right now, Matthew Schaefer. He should be getting certain, maybe not first place votes. Maybe he does if Islanders find their way in. But he should be at least, like, he's a lock for Calder. We're not even going to discuss the Calder.
Yeah.
Shout out Demidov, amazing what he's doing for Montreal this year as well. It's Schaefer's award to lose. Should have been on Team Canada as well. Like we said, maybe Bouchard in hindsight. Now, we made a mistake of maybe not putting him in. But, like, Lane Hudson deserves to be in this conversation as well. But, like, Matthew Schaefer, what he has done as a big factor just a year into his rookie year of there, I think he should be getting some sort of votes to a certain extent as well. But for both of us, I think it is pretty consensus that it should be Zach Werenski's award to lose this year. But it will be intriguing to see who will be the finalists because it is a very close race. You could throw in Jake Sanderson and what he's doing with Ottawa Senators as well, who now elevated into a playoff spot as of this recording.
The Jack Adams Award always has two sides to it. It's a narrative versus who is actually the best coach. The narrative of taking a team to the playoffs that missed a year ago or 12 tells a great story. But does that take away from the coaches that have been in the top tier for years? Which side do you usually take?
I fully acknowledge I'm a narrative guy.
I'm a narrative guy.
I'm a narrative guy too.
guy.
And is that fair to a guy like John Cooper who if he doesn't win it this year, will probably never win it because he's never won it, right? I don't think Bednar has won it either. Like early in the year, it was easy Bednar for me.
Yeah.
And it still could be. The reason why I'm against the Lindy Ruff one this year specifically, and I'm being biased, somewhat biased because I was in favor of Tocchet winning it the year he won it for the Canucks. Is that what's the difference between Lindy Ruff last? This is where I shout out Halford and Bruff. I heard it in the morning. What's the difference between Lindy Ruff last year to this year? Even this year, the first 20 games was not good, right? Whereas if you compare it to a guy like John Cooper, who's been steady the whole year, slightly some old start, but like he's been steady for the most part for the last couple of years. Rick Bowness. If you're gonna talk about a guy who comes in, this guy comes in when the Columbus Blue Jackets were 28th in the NHL and now has jumped up to 8th in the NHL. And this guy didn't have like, and it wasn't like Lindy Ruff where he could learn from his mistake and go off the bat. Like Rick Bowness came in after Dean Evison got fired and did what he did overall. So like for me, like Lindy Ruff, I get it. I understand why he's the favorite. Buffalo's finally making the playoffs. Big narrative, big story. That fan base deserves after all they went through from picks failures, dumb failing the picks they made in Reinhardt and Eichel and all of them to finally now getting in and arguably be the division winner as well. I get that, like that's the narrative. But if you're talking about like strictly coach, like this year it's like if that's the case, then I might lean Rick Bowness, right? Like if that's the case, you're looking at it. Like a jump from when he came in, a team was 28th. Like when Boudreau almost took the Canucks to the playoffs, that's what this was for the most part. Except this guy he's not gonna catch Carolina, but he's legitimately second in the division now, right? Like at one point, I think they were probably dead last. If I'm saying if they're 28th in the NHL, they were arguably dead last or second last behind the Rangers or someone. that's where I look at it. And then, like, again, the last thing before I let you go is Jared Bednar. The guy's been dominant from the first game of the year. Yes, a little cold stretch here doesn't mean that he should be behind Glenn Gulletson, right? Dan Mew's understandable. Like, that's the same vibe. Like, he turned a team around in his first year. But for me, if I'm picking one right now, if I'm going narrative, it's Rick Bowness. But if I'm picking who's the best coach, that's John Cooper. So it's between one of the two for me at the moment.
That's fair. The case where I think... The way I think there's a case for Lindy Ruff is compared to like Rick Bowness, like when you look at a team, right? Compared to Columbus, is that Lindy Ruff and Buffalo Sabres are like literally up there, right? Like top 5, top 3 in the NHL, if I'm not mistaken, right? Wherever they are, and obviously, and leading a more competitive division. Whereas the Metro is a little bit weaker with the Rangers being terrible, Devils falling off.
They're 4th, Buffalo.
Yeah, so is it top 3 Central still?
No, Carolina.
Oh, Carolina's up there. Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's where I think is a huge case because it's not like they're a team like barely squeaking in. Like I'm not saying Columbus is barely squeak in. They might have it locked up with how good they have been recently under Bonus. Like they might have it locked up, with a week left. But Buffalo's up there. That's where I feel like, yeah, if you talk about a narrative, I would favor Bonus.
Yeah, like the best narrative this year is Rick Bowness.
I would favor Bonus. Like, not by much, but I would, just because the Buffalo story is that incredible. Okay, right? At the end of the day, realistically, like it's so good that to the point where, like, we're Canucks fans, we know we're out. Yeah. That we'll root for Buffalo to go for the Stanley Cup if I were to pick a team that's in the playoffs.
Unless I don't want the 1970 fellow team not to win it before us. But yeah, we're not that petty to a certain extent. But no, okay, so if you're going narrative, then what about, okay, I'm not putting Joel Quenneville in this conversation because the Pacific Division is one ass. And then B, they also have a -5 goal difference. But if you're talking about like what Lindy Ruff did, like look what Joel Quenneville did coming in his first year. And he's a proven good head coach in the past. Obviously, we know why he was not in the NHL coaching because of the whole 2010 scandal. With the whole Kyle Beach situation. But if you're talking about like strictly head coach now that he's in the NHL, you could say he's a better head coach than Lindy Ruff. Plus, he's doing this with a young Anaheim team that are winning the division ahead of some favorites, ahead of Vegas and Edmonton and even LA to a certain extent.
Yeah, obviously that's where everyone could take it a different way. Like at the end of the day, Buffalo and Columbus are the teams that have the best turnaround. It's just simple as that. And that's where for the coaching, that's where the best narrative comes from. Because at the end of the day, last year, Columbus, weren't like dead last, but like they missed the playoffs. Buffalo, they're garbage.
Which was also led by Lindy Ruff as well, though.
Again, like, so why is that a factor though? That's last year. Who gives a shit about last year?
No, but like I'm saying, like he had the same team, and if you're talking about the coach of why is he the best coach? Because this, the definition of this award is, I guess, coach of the year, but is that best coach of that year?
Well, that's not the case everywhere. Then why? Like that? Then why are we making a conversation this year then?
No, that's
like,
fair.
It's not been like this every year. Like, was Talkett really the best coach? Or was it just a 2-month hot stretch?
I get it. You're saying the whole McDavid conversation here,
right? But
I guess sometimes you got to look at it. It's like the whole like tired of LeBron thing from when he was in the Heat days and onwards. One other thing I do want to mention: does the games played matter for Bonus? Because he's only going to play coach a half a year. Sorry.
Yes.
Right, close to less than.
I think it is a factor. In my opinion, it is just because we haven't like Lindy Ruff, like as much as it might be the roster or whatever else around him. But at the end, Lindy Ruff went through adversity and turned it around himself. Rick Bowness just came in. And there's this thing called a head coach bump, whatever it is, right? I know it's like it doesn't last for this long, but...
Ruby didn't win with St. Louis, right?
I don't think so. So Cooper didn't win that year?
I don't think Cooper won. No, I'm hearing Cooper never won it.
Okay, Cooper not winning that year is crazy.
Yeah.
Like that year. Because, what's his name? Jim Montgomery won when Boston broke the record.
Yeah.
Like Cooper should have won that year. If he didn't, that was pretty stupid, in my opinion. So like right here, no one here is breaking NHL records, right? In terms of being the best regular season team.
Barry Trotz won it that year.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like in my opinion, Cooper like definitely should have had it locked that year for sure. But I get the point. But at the same time, I don't think it should be like I don't think we should be discrediting Lindy Ruff that much.
Okay.
Here, just because he was their coach last year and he was their coach in the beginning of the year, and now they're having success. And you're like, okay, like at the end of the day, something has to change. And let's be honest, like the GM is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Like it's not the GM bump. That doesn't make sense, right? Like he's not on the ice or ice level coaching or playing or anything, right? Unless he made a trade or anything, which he didn't. Kekalainen didn't do anything yet, except for
adding
some stuff at the deadline.
Tried for Parayko, to be fair.
Yeah, but overall, like at the end, it is Lindy Ruff and the players doing of why Buffalo has been successful. So
who's your winner?
He should be credited. I am leaning Lindy Ruff.
Okay,
I'm making that case for him.
I will take the case of games played 41. So I'm gonna give it to John Cooper this year. I understand the last 2 years was more narrative based. Spencer Carberry, Rick Tocchet. That obviously Jim Montgomery was like the record breaking year overall. But I will go with John Cooper as well. Like again, my prediction is that they will end up winning the division as well. So I'm tying that into it. But I think what John Cooper has done this whole year with a lot of injuries he has faced, on his defensive side of things, like Victor Hedman is now taking a leave of absence. Hopefully everything's good with him. Obviously, I think how he has managed his roster and still be right there to win the division, I think I'm going to go John Cooper finally winning his first one this year. But really good conversation, really good episode. These awards even have been very close, as you could tell with the debate that we just had with the Coach of the Year, consideration for MVP of the Hart in general. So we want to hear your comments down below. Who are your award winners for these trophies as well? And all the awards, if you want to tell us. Tell us your winners. Make sure you guys hit the like button. We're on the road to 200 subscribers. You guys don't want to miss one of our next videos coming up. It's going to be a banger. And other than that, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace.